Slide 1. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Take a second and think about what you ate for breakfast today. Was it a bowl of cereal? Maybe some hot idlis or a piece of toast? We all eat such a huge variety of food every single day. But have you ever stopped to wonder, where does our food actually come from? Today, we are going to become food detectives. We're going to dive into chapter 1 of our science journey, Food Foundations. We'll trace the food on our plates all the way back to its origin in nature. Let's get started. Slide 2. Before we can figure out where our food comes from, we need to understand what it's made of. Whenever you eat a meal, you're eating a combination of different materials. In science and in cooking, we call these materials ingredients. Let's look at a really simple example. If you want to make a bowl of plain boiled rice, you only need two ingredients, raw rice and water. Simple, right? But if you want to make a delicious bowl of dal or vegetable curry, things get a bit more complex. You'll need pulses, water, salt, spices, and oil or ghee. The big takeaway here is that every single dish is just a different combination of ingredients. Slide 3. So, now we know that our meals are made of ingredients. But where do the ingredients come from? Well, almost everything we eat traces back to just two main sources, plants and animals. Think about a farm. The plant side gives us things like grains, cereals, vegetables, and fruits. So your rice, wheat, and mustard all come from plants. On the other hand, the animal side gives us products like milk, meat, and eggs. So the milk you drink in the morning comes from cows, goats, or buffaloes, and the eggs might come from chickens. Slide 4. Since plants give us such a massive portion of our food, let's zoom in on them. When you think of eating a plant, you might just think of eating its fruit, like an apple or a mango. But actually, we eat almost every part of a plant. We call these eatable parts edible parts. Depending on the plant, we might eat the roots, like when you crunch on a carrot. We might eat the stem, the leaves, like spinach, or the seeds, which give us grains and cooking oils. We even eat the flowers of some plants. Slide 5. Here is where plants get really cool. Some plants are what I like to call 2-for-1 plants because they have two or more edible parts. Take the mustard plant, for example. We use its seeds to make mustard oil and we cook its leaves as a tasty vegetable. The banana plant is another great example. People use multiple parts of it for food. In some places, people even take the beautiful yellow flowers of the pumpkin plant, dip them in rice paste, and fry them up as a snack. But wait, before you go outside and start eating random leaves, listen carefully to this safety warning. Never try to taste unknown wild plants around you. Some plants can be highly poisonous. Stick to the food in your kitchen. Slide 6. Now I want to show you a really fun science trick you can try at home called sprouting. You can actually bring dry seeds back to life. If you take some dry mung or chana seeds, soak them in a jar of water for a day, drain the water and wrap them in a wet cloth. Something amazing happens. By the next day, you will see a tiny white structure growing out of the seed. This means the seeds have sprouted. You can wash them, boil them, add some spices, and you have a super healthy, crunchy snack. Slide 7. So far, we've talked a lot about plants. But let's look at a very special ingredient that requires teamwork between plants and animals. Honey. Have you ever wondered how bees make honey? It starts with the sauce. Flowers produce a sweet juice called nectar. The bees act as the collectors, flying around and drinking up this nectar. Then, they transform that nectar into honey and store it inside their beehive. Because flowers only bloom for part of the year, the bees store this food so they can eat it all year round. When humans come along, we harvest that stored food and enjoy it as sweet honey. Slide 8. We've spent all this time talking about what we eat. But what do animals eat? Do they all eat the same things? Not at all. We divide animals into three main groups based on their diets. First, we have herbivores. These are animals that eat only plants or plant products. Think of gentle grazers like cows, buffaloes, and deer, or a little squirrel eating a nut. Next are the carnivores. These are animals that eat only other animals. Lions, tigers, spiders, and house lizards belong to this fierce group. Finally, we have omnivores. These are animals that enjoy the best of both worlds. They eat both plants and animals. Dogs and crows are great examples of omnivores. Slide 9. Let's tie it all together. We just learned about herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. So, where do human beings fit into this food web?